Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia. For today, we're going to be jumping into another session of Epic 7 out today. Got some more PvE content for you guys. This time, we're going to be jumping into a Midsummer Paradise, weeks 3 and 4. For this farming section of the event, we're going to have to head to our the hidden basement. In the hidden basement here, we have levels 3 and 4 that I'm going to showcase to you guys today, and we're going to start with the level 4, which is more difficult. If you're able to do this, then obviously you will be able to do the level 3 as well. So, jumping into this fight here, I have two teams. The key hero slot for both teams is going to be Alencia, so I made sure to put her here. She will appear in both teams that way. Now, if you're looking at these units here and you're like, oh, I don't have some of these units, feel free to replace them with other damage dealers or other supports. I just went for teams that did not include any Moonlight heroes, whether it be 3 stars or 4 stars, and I did not include any limited units. So things like Ed with extra attacks and stuff that have a lot of good utility in this fight, I did not include on purpose just in case you guys don't have them. But if you do, feel free to slot them in. So let's go ahead and jump into this fight here. And I'm going to make sure that we see the boss first. I'll explain the mechanics before I let the auto battle run. Right, so when the boss comes in, it'll attack you and summon this mob who gives some buffs to the team. Now, the mob here has a weakness on it where single target damage is going to be increased by 120%, which is not bad. Fighting the boss, though, the boss has two unique effects. The first one's Seclusion, which means it's kind of like permanently stealth, like Spectre Tenebria, until the other ally that's here dies, right? And then this will be dispelled. It also reduces the damage it takes from AoE, so you can't cheese this boss by just chucking a bunch of AoE damage at it. For the second unique effect, we have Spell. This increases its defense by 30%. And the most important thing is that you can actually dispel this by attacking the boss twice with an extra attack when the boss is knocked out of seclusion, so after you defeat this first mob, right? And the other thing to note is that this boss is actually immune to defense break. You'll see why later, because the boss will have this unique skill that comes up that's actually giving it 70% defense break on it, so you don't have to do it yourself. Going into this fight here, my Mui is going to attack buff the entire team, and we're going to go in with some Zahhak damage. Alencia can cut here. She will dual attack with the Zahhak because of the enhanced dual attack buff given by Mui. You don't need Mui for this fight at all, by the way. My Alencia skills are turned off because I want to maximize the ability for her to do extra attacks, but I didn't turn them off for Shu. This is because when the boss attacks, there's a chance for Shu to counter here, and if the Shu counters and we get some extra attack procs, we're good to go. Right, so Alencia goes for the first extra attack, and as you can see there, the boss's buff did not get dispelled. However, the boss does get this effect here, which defense breaks by 70%, which is quite nice. The other thing to note is Mui actually has a target debuff, so while you can't defense break this boss, you can put target debuff on it, and as you can see, with Zahhak here, we're doing a ton of damage. Now you only get one turn to utilize that defense break on the boss, but it should be more than enough for you to go ahead and finish off the first wave. Again, you can substitute these units with a lot of other ones. Ed, for example, is pretty good. Charles, I believe the Bolognas work as well here. So anything with an extra attack. As you can see in the second wave, I actually bring in Arunka, who has a chance to proc an extra hit with her S1, which is quite useful. My Helga's over here to attack buff the team. She's also built as a bruiser, but Alencia is still part of the core, right? We're still using her to get rid of that boss's buff. So, Celine actually works quite well here because the boss, when it does a non-attack skill, Celine gets to go ahead and attack into the boss, and she self-buffs with attack and evasion, allowing her to stay alive. As you can see here, Arunka makes quick work of that mob out in the front, and now we can start getting that extra attack in on the boss. Alencia gets the first extra attack in. If we're lucky, Arunka can get one, but if not, you see, our Alencia's already lapped already, so not too big of a deal. We go ahead and dispel, and now it's just free damage. If you didn't go for Arunca here, as you can see, Alencia did all the work in dispelling. You could have brought a stronger damage dealer than the Arunca, and you probably would clear this with an even faster time. But yeah, this team works wonders. As you can see, we're already cleared it, even though the defense break is gone from the boss. We are pretty much done. So you don't have to use all Earth units. I just went for an all Earth team because I had Helga built as a support unit, and it worked out for me. You can again always choose other units that can help you out in this situation. But now with that aside, let's go ahead and take a look at my unit's gear. So starting off with this team here, we got Mui, who's really just on a kind of support build. Don't really have insane gears on her or anything, just random things that no one else is using. She doesn't need to be on immunity. I just had her on speed set. She just needs to be faster than your DPS unit so that she can buff everybody. I got her on Midnight Bloom. You can put her on anything else. If you need more effectiveness, you can put an effectiveness artifact on her. She probably doesn't even need to be 6-star for this fight, to be honest. And yeah, her EE is the one with the enhanced dual attack. Again, you don't need Mui at all. You can use any other support unit that you want, or just bring more damage, right? I've tested this with a few other damage dealers. You can use things like Charles, like I said, Bellona's work as well. Alright, going for Shu here is my standard PvP Shu. I'll just flash the gear on the screen real quick. She doesn't need to be on counter. It does help a little bit though with getting some additional damage procs and stuff like that. Got Golden Rose as the artifact. Anything that deals extra damage is fine. And she needs this EE though, if you're going to use Shu, to go from your S1 into a Fwoosh. Right, next up we have our Zahak. Zahak has been proving to be quite a useful unit in PvE content. This is my PvP Zahak. I didn't change anything about him, and I'm assuming most people who've been playing the game for a while likely have a copy of him since he's so versatile in things like Guild Wars Arena and RTA. Have him on Symbol of Unity just for some additional damage, and his EE is for buffing the attack of an ally. Alright, and last but not least for the first team, we have Alencia. She is my key slot hero, and again, look, she is built for PvP. I have her on Injury, which is a completely worthless set for PvE, but, you know, if it works, right? There's no need to switch gear around if you don't need to. Have her on this artifact, which again is not necessarily required, it's just my Alencia build's very specific in that I need that extra crit rate. Yeah, and that's about it for the first team. Let's go ahead and take a look at the second one here. Don't need to show Alencia again, but let's start off with my Bruiser Helga. Slapped her on some Spirit Destruction gear. You can see she's pretty squishy, but she packs quite a punch. She's not really too great here because you can't defense break the boss. If you had something like Iseria with Song of the Stars, you can probably put some target debuffs onto the boss here, and I don't really know why I have Border Coin on her, but it is on her right now. Ideally, you put a damage artifact or something there, and she can help contribute even more. Arunca right here, again, PvP build. I have her on speed and pen set, and she is just here to have the chance for extra S1 procs, but as you can see, the Alencia kind of did the entire job. So if you really wanted to, you can replace her with any other unit. Doesn't have to have extra attacks at all. You can just have really strong single target nukes, whatever they may be. And last but not least, we got my Celine here, who's actually not even built on full damage. If I built her on full damage, most of you guys probably have her on a full damage build, then that'd be even more viable. But again, this is my RTA build. She's a bit tankier, but if I took some of that bulk and I put it into attack, then she definitely would have contributed even more damage. She is currently on Secret Art Storm Sword. You don't need this artifact, but it does help because she can self-attack buff and gets that extra little damage in when the boss uses a non-attack skill at the beginning of the fight. And I always use the one where she targets the highest attack. That way you'll attack the boss and not accidentally hit the rock at the beginning, although it doesn't hurt, right? But this is my team over here. If you guys have figured out a way to beat the level 4 stage, then leave your team ideas in the comments section down below. I'm sure many of the viewers will actually appreciate it, seeing what other unit ideas there are, in addition to the other suggestions that I've been giving in the video. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the level 3 fight, and let's see just how much easier it is. Alright guys, so jumping into the level 3 stage, I'm going to bring in the exact same units just to give you a comparison on the speed and on the relative amount of damage that your units will be dealing. So going into this right here, I'm going to go ahead and stop the auto battle to show you guys that the buffs are pretty much the same. The only thing is that the little rock here does not have that extra damage buff, right? Seclusion is the same and spell is the same as well. The only difference is that this effect can be dispelled with 1 extra attack and you don't need 2, which means you really don't need a shoe here, but again, I'm keeping the teams consistent just so you can compare the time that it takes to run. Right, going into this right here, Zahak gonna pop that S3 right into the rock, and you can already tell that damage is already quite insane, right? Just for comparison, you can see how much easier they made the 3rd stage. So if you're a newer player, this is probably where you're going to be farming, but don't be afraid to try the level 4 stage. If you can farm the level 4 stage, then by all means do it. But if level 3 is so much faster and so much easier and so much more consistent without any fails, then I'd recommend going for this. There's no reason not to, especially if you have a ton of stamina laying around, extra leaves, and you want to burn them and you want to get gear, right? So you can definitely maximize the amount of runs that you're doing by fighting the easier stages. As you can see, Celine's extra hit, excuse me, already took down so much of the boss's health, like 1/3 of the health bar right there, right? 1/3 of the remaining health bar, that is. And you can already see Alencia with the extra attack here will dispel the boss's protection. And now you have Helka just smashing with that S2, and Arunka probably being able to finish this off. Oh, no, actually not quite. Yeah, you can definitely replace Arunka with like anybody else, right? But you can see just how fast and how simple this is. So hopefully this video has given you guys some ideas on how to approach it. Again, you don't have to have a mono element team, and you do not need to have the units that I'm using, right? You can use MLs, you can use limited units. Feel free to customize and adjust your teams based on your needs and based on the units and gear that you have. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe for more Epic 7 content. And until next time, take care.